Hello and welcome to the National Leadership Briefing. My name is Doug Sharp and I will be your host for today. Well, it is Friday, February the 6th, 2026. This will be the second National Leadership Briefing of the year, the second of 12 only. Remember, we meet once every month for 1 hour as a touch point. This is not the extent of everything that we do. This is just one moment in time every month where you and I have the opportunity to get together and realign our thoughts, to focus on what's most important, maybe remind ourselves to screen out some of the noise, and make sure that you and I are working as effectively and efficiently as we can throughout the year, maximizing and leveraging our time in the right places so we're not wasting a lot of time. And that's what I do here for you today, is I'm going to be bringing things to you that nobody else is going to be bringing them to you. In the way that I'm bringing them to you is going to be unique as well. And you're going to hear things today that, quite frankly, I'm kind of surprised no one else is talking about. But if Holy Spirit puts something on my heart that I'm supposed to share with you, then I am going to do that. I don't care if anybody else comes along or not. I just want to be obedient for what the Lord wants me to share with you. So that's what we're going to do today. Let me give you an idea as to what the agenda looks like. First of all, if this is the second National Leadership Briefing of the year, you missed the first one. And the first one was on January the 2nd. And the theme of that National Leadership Briefing was getting started right. So I'm going to encourage anybody, if you are brand new to the briefing and you have not seen the January 2nd National Leadership Briefing, that is in fact where you want to start. You want to drop this video if you're watching it now on video or on YouTube or whatever. Go back to the January video and make sure you watch that first. That's going to give you a foundation of understanding as to who we are, what we're doing here, why we're doing what we're doing. And it also tells you that you need to take some preliminary foundational training to really maximize what it is that you're going to retrieve and receive out of this year ahead. There's a lot of recommendations that I make on the National Leadership Briefing from January as to videos that are completely free. You can just go to the website anytime you want, go to our YouTube channel and watch them. But watch the January 2nd briefing, and it tells you exactly what it is that you need to do. All right, so find that on our YouTube channel. The second thing we're going to do today here is I'm going to make sure that you know what is on the road ahead. One of the things that we practice here is we practice not staring at the ground in front of our feet. We practice making sure we raise our chin and look to the horizon to see what's coming at us from a distance. Now, I am going to talk about things that are happening now, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened just a little while ago. But for the most part, you and I are going to spend our time looking on the horizon, seeing what's out there in the way of threats and opportunities, and then using the road in front of us to walk it out and prepare to greet those opportunities and defend against those threats. And we do have some things coming at us on the horizon that I need to share with you today. And again, no one else is sharing it. I have no idea why, but I'm just going to be obedient and let the Lord speak through me. And I trust that what it is that I'm going to be sharing with you today is something you need to hear. The second thing we're going to do, third thing, pardon me, is we're going to go through a sphere authority training exercise. One of the things that we teach here is understanding your jurisdictional authority, the authorities that you possess within your sphere of influence. We want you to fully understand those authorities because we want you to wield them with the maximum efficiency. But people get all caught up and they don't quite understand jurisdictional limits of authority. So we're going to go through an exercise today, taking a look at globalism versus letting the people speak. So we're going to go through a bit of an exercise there. And then my intention with that, of course, is that you then are more equipped, better equipped to articulate these challenges and opportunities to meet these threats on the horizon. You're more equipped to articulate exactly what the challenges are by you seeing me do it. So I'm going to model something for you today using one of our templates. We're also going to talk about coalition building today. We have an opportunity coming up on the horizon where we're going to be doing some citizen action group ministry training. But in our view, that is just an example of a coalition of people coming together to tackle a specific challenge or to prepare themselves in a unified way to greet an opportunity, whatever it is. But we want you to be able to understand what a coalition is, how to build one, whether it's a parents advisory council council, whether it's your church family. Your church family exists as a coalition. So we want you to understand the advantages of coming together with a common purpose and a common cause and working in a unified way, much the same as what we do here on the National Leadership Briefing every single month. So coalition building is next, and then we're going to follow up with what we call our peaceful non-compliance strategy, and that's dealing with things like the Conservative Party of Canada and some of the things that are going to be coming at you in the immediate future. So peaceful non-compliance, I know that as Canadians, we just want to go along to get along. Well, that's over. None of that is happening here on the National Leadership Briefing. So if you expect me to sort of fall in line and everybody line up and, hey, let's do that and let's all get that done. Nope, that's not going to happen here. You're going to have to go someplace else for that. But we are peacefully non-compliant here on the National Leadership Briefing. And so I'm going to make sure that you are more than equipped to do that yourself on the road ahead. That's going to be an important part of what it is that you're going to need to know. And then finally, also, I'll probably talk about the convention a bit. Now, the convention, I'm going to tell you, don't stick around right to the very end to hear me talk about the Conservative Party of Canada convention, because you think I'm going to go through all of the same things that, what happened, all that stuff. No, we're going to be looking ahead at the future, and we're going to be talking about how you and I need to prepare ourselves for opportunities like political party conventions to advance the things that we believe in as Christians into the conversations that take place in future conventions. Okay, yes, we learned a lot from the last one, and we do share that intelligence with people who are actively working to participate in future ones. But at this point in time, I just want you to understand we have an opportunity on the road ahead to participate in a process where people that share our views and values can come together, enter a room, and vote up or down on whether or not they think ideas are good or bad. And so we want to be in that room. We want to be in all the rooms. We want to be in all the rooms where all the decisions are made as Christians. We don't want to say, that's beneath me. That's something else. That's for somebody else. That's not my lane. I hear that all the time. That's not my lane. Oh, trust me, this is your lane. This is so your lane. It's everybody's lane. So stick around to the end. We will talk about convention, but future conventions. All right. Thanks so much for joining us here on the briefing today. I'm looking forward to serving you. I hope this isn't too shocking for you today, but strap in. We're going to get started right after this. First of all, this section here, as I said in the beginning, I wanted to give you a sense as to what I see happening here on the immediate road ahead. We've got this next year coming up, and we're rolling into it pretty hard and fast. It's February already. I think everybody's kind of shocked at the pace at which time seems to be flying by. But here we are, and I wanted to give you a sense as to what I believe here on the National Leadership Briefing, what we see is going to be happening on the road ahead this year. And that will help you to receive it and put it into the mix of all of the other advisors or other people that you've got in your lives that I hope are somewhat qualified. I mean, I guess I'm just putting myself out as somebody who loves you and cares about you. Put me in that category, right? So I'm not actually, I've got nothing to gain by lying to you like all those other scumbags out there that are coming on the daily news every day and lying to you constantly about what's important and what to focus on. I genuinely do care about you. I love you very much. You guys have been you pray for me, you pray for our work here, you support us with your donations, and I my heart is with you It's not with those guys over there. So I have no interest in steering you in any other direction but someplace that's good. That's my intention. But I am not the only advisor in your life. I get that. Okay, all right. First of all, what you're going to see on the road ahead is the government is going to continue to spend money like crazy. As a matter of fact, the spending patterns of government in Canada, US, governments around the world, globally, you're going to see money being spent so fast that they're going to be printing money. And remember, the money that I'm talking about them spending is not money that they have sitting in a pile somewhere. It's not even money that they're going to be taxing you at the end of the year to collect, to pay for. This is money that they're printing. They're just printing money. The presses are just going to be going, and it's just going to be like sending the cash out into the world of finance, and it is going to do a couple of things. One of the things it's going to do is it's going to give some people a false sense of security that everything is okay. It's going to give people a sense like, oh, well, that's not so bad because we've still got like this happening and we've still got that happening. But you're going to see prices starting to go up, obviously, because when you start injecting more and more money into the financial system, you're going to start seeing more money chasing fewer goods, they say. But let me put this in more. You're going to see a dilution of the value of the money that you have. So you have money in your bank account. Let's say you have $1,000 in your bank account. If all of a sudden the government of Canada prints $90 billion Canadian dollars and injects it into the system, each one of the dollars that's out there becomes diluted in its value. The purchasing power of the $1,000 that you have in your bank account is going to be $900 or even $600. I'm telling you, I myself am marveling at the willingness of governments around the world to print money into oblivion. Like that is actually the direction they're going. And I have thoughts on why they're doing that. I believe in Canada, for example, Mark Carney, our prime minister right now, is doing that because he knows one thing for certain is that we'll never have to pay it back. That he is actually spending money, and so was Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau. They were spending money knowing that forget about the future people paying for it in taxes, which believe me, they'll try to get as much of it out of you as they can. But they just know that they're never going to pay it back because what they're going to do is they're going to reset that debt into a new global financial system that is going to be rolled out over the next few years. And that is, you've heard of it. You've heard of the Great Reset. I'm just telling you, I know that sounds conspiratorial. Even when I hear the word, I know for years I actually heard it coming, the reset and all that stuff. And then I just thought, I better have a look at this. No, it's real. They're resetting the global financial system into a digital asset model. Everything's going to be what they call tokenized. It's going to be on the blockchain. All that thing you heard about Bitcoin and all that stuff being a scam by your financial advisor, who, by the way, again, should be thrown in prison because they were so negligent that they didn't tell you about cryptocurrencies and the fact that this is now a part of the future. You are actually now in a place where you're hearing it from me, some guy on the national leadership briefing for the first time. You're not hearing it from the evening news. You're not hearing it because they're negligent. They're lying to you and they're negligent and that or ignorant. And so here we are. We're playing a little bit of catch up, but understand this. They're going to print a lot of money and the money you have is going to be worth less. So you've got to start being smarter with your money. You got to really be, don't go out and put yourself out on a limb on some really expensive truck, that's brand new truck that's going to depreciate. Don't go buying that camper right now. Trust me, it's going to be cheaper later. When all of these problems start evolving and arriving at your doorstep because of a hyperinflationary collapse of the currency, you're going to be able to buy stuff cheaper. Okay, wait till later. So now there's another thing that's going to be happening is you're going to hear an increased conversation happening in Canada about universal basic income. Now they're going to sell it to you as, well, we want to make sure we're going to raise everybody out from to above the poverty line. They're going to say, yeah, but we're only going to give universal basic income to the people that need it most in society. That's what they're going to say to you. And you're going to hear this talk more and more because as the global financial system, and especially in Canada here, things start getting really, really bad, they're going to start giving you the little, that little thing that they put in a baby's mouth and you suck on it so that you feel better. They're going to go, hey, don't worry, stick this in your mouth, universal basic income, and that conversation will take care of you. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And then you will feel better about it. But don't. It's a trap. It's a total trap. What they want to do is they want to completely destroy every store of wealth that you have as a Canadian citizen. The government of Canada, yes, Mark Carney and the Liberals. And you know what? I'm not even going to say that this isn't going to be the tool that they use in the hands of the Conservatives either. But I'm just telling you that in the hands of the Liberals right now, they do not want you sitting on a basket full of cash. They want you completely reliant on government assistance. And so if you are, like I say, recklessly spending money out there instead of being wise with your money and actually beginning to steward it in a way that make sure that you're not out there blowing it on fast food and all that stuff right now. This isn't the time. This year is not the time. So definitely be smarter with your money because what they're going to do is they're going to wreck you up against the rocks of a transition into a new global financial system. And then they're going to say, but don't worry, here's your universal basic income. And from that place where you think, oh, well, I'll be receiving my money every month, you're going to feel like everything is going to be okay. But no, it's a trap. They're going to leave you there. There's no opportunity for you to climb out of that universal basic income trap once you're locked in it. So again, this is probably shocking for you, but my point is, go easy on blowing the cash right now. Like and I'm not even making a recommendation as to what you do with your cash. I'm just saying be smart with your money, the money that you've got. Another thing you're going to be hearing a lot about is you're going to hear a lot about the government talking about moving to a digital currency. Now, in the Budget Implementation Act that was just passed in Parliament, you have a part in there that talks about stable coins. You're going to be hearing this phrase stable coins come up. And for those of you who know that central bank digital currencies are bad, which they are, that would be a currency that would replace our Canadian dollar. That central bank digital currency comes in and replaces our Canadian dollar. And then the digital dollar that we have in our hands is managed and controlled by central bankers, globalists. That is a bad thing. However, what they're probably going to be talking about is they're probably going to be talking about a Canadian solution to that, much the same as in the United States right now. President Trump and the American government they're trying to seize control of the global financial system, especially when it comes to the US digital dollar, which will be rolled out as a stable coin. It'll be a new dollar that'll be rolled out as a stable coin. They want to have control over that digital currency. And so that's the war that's going on right now in the financial markets. If you're looking at the financial markets and you're seeing that that all of the digital currencies, all of the all blockchain assets right now are just in chaos, and you've also got real volatility in the traditional equity markets. It's because there's a war going on right now between bankers and between Donald Trump and the US government. And Donald Trump is trying to snatch control out of the hands of the central bankers, the global financial system. Which, by the way, if you don't like Donald Trump, that's fine. But who would you rather have? The Americans in charge or our neighbors to the south? The United States of America, or would you rather have a bunch of globalist elite central banker scumbags and dirtbags? And we're talking about people that hate your guts. Remember, I'm the guy that loves you. They hate you. They actually hate you. They think you're a complete waste of energy. They just want to lock you in your home like they did before, and they want to give you universal basic income and wait until you die, hoping that you don't procreate. They do not want you to procreate. They think there's way too many of us on the planet already. So again, I know this sounds shocking, but on the road ahead, you're going to hear it. I'm telling you, I play this video back at the end of the year. You're going to hear more about digital currencies. You're going to be hear more about stable coins. You're going to hear more about government debt. You're going to be hear more about universal basic income. These are the things that are coming at you right now. And I'm telling you this because if you start hearing it and you don't immediately run to look for solutions to these challenges that are coming at you, which I hope one of the places you come is here. I hope one of the places that you come is here because I'm the guy that's not going to be lying to you through this whole thing. I'm not the guy that's going to be telling you on the evening news that you need to care about what the weather is in Eastern Canada when you live in Western Canada. So, like if you're watching the daily news, that is so far from where our heads need to be right now that I gotta say, come on, like choose your sources of information really carefully. It's going to be really important. All right. It's also important for you to watch what the billionaires are doing on the road ahead. I've been watching the billionaires for the last few years, and I'll tell you what I've seen them doing. They're leaving. They're leaving. Canada is actually, and I'm speaking Canada, but it's also the US to a degree. Canada, you can measure the amount of investment dollars and investment money, whether it's coming into Canada or out of Canada. Money has taken absolute full flight out of Canada. Like it is flying out into global markets. Investment is being made in other parts of the world at a rate that is almost inconceivable. We would have never thought it was possible. But why are the billionaires moving their money out of Canada right now? Well, they're moving their money out of Canada because money is actually transportable. Money is actually, you can move it easily. And why would they keep it in a jurisdiction where it's at risk if they can put it somewhere else where it's safer and can make a better return? Because remember, billionaires aren't out there trying to make money. They don't think like that. Billionaires aren't going out there going, "Oh, I wonder if I can buy this car and sell it for this and buy it for that." No, they think a whole other way. They're thinking about preservation of capital. They're thinking about preservation of their wealth, maintaining their store of wealth. They just want to hold on to it and have it keep up to inflation. And they don't think in terms of like I got to go find that next big deal to invest in. No, they're just trying to take it to the safest jurisdiction in the world where it can be maintained at the value that it is. So you're going to start seeing more and more of that capital flight out of Canada, which is going to cause a situation for you and I where you and I have less opportunities to make money. That's what it is. You and I have less opportunities to make money if there are more and more investment capital dollars going out of the country. So you're going to see that happening on the road ahead as well. And then you're also going to see finally, you're also going to see a less of a, and this is taking a bit of a deviation. You're going to see less and less cooperation from your local banks on financing or doing things that you might normally think you could do. Like if you want to go out and buy a house, or you might want to go out and buy a car, this liquidity crisis that we're in right now is going to worsen. We have a situation now where there is a real, like the wheels of the monetary system are slowly grinding to a halt, and banks are actually really having challenges, and they can't lend out as freely as they used to. And they got to be careful too, because they don't want to lend out a lot of money to people who are possibly going to have financial challenges down the road and not be able to pay them back. But I'm just saying, you watch, it's going to be harder and harder to get your hands on capital for things that you really do need to like finance or what have you. So again, I'm only saying these things because you and I need to be aware of this on the road ahead. And believe me, one of the things I'm going to be doing right now, or doing on the road ahead, is I'm going to make sure that you have good information that you can bank on, that you can actually rely on from a Christian worldview, from somebody's, and I'm not talking about me, somebody that can give you better financial advice. I'm not that guy. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just telling you, we're heading to a darker place, and you don't want to get caught out there making some silly decision about a snowmobile or a boat on the lake. Trust me, this isn't the year to buy a boat. Okay, great. So we'll leave it at that for now. And again, hope that's not too. Be encouraged though. We can see it coming. This is the big thing. This is an advantage for us, right? That we're not going to get blindsided by it later. All right. So let's come back right after this. We're going to talk about sphere authority training. We're going to talk about the globalists, and we're going to talk about what the difference is between how do the globalists affect us and our governments, and where are we in the mix of all these conversations. And I'm going to use the sphere authority training template behind me here on the board. It's not there now. Actually, you know what? We should actually talk about this. Just make a note. If you want to support this ministry, if you want somebody out there telling you the truth, if you want someone that's available to actually speak out of love to you instead of lying to your face, like honestly, those people hate you. And their hate is going to become more and more obvious. You're going to see it manifest almost like demons. You're going to see demons in people that are going to come out, and that hate is going to be so obvious to you. I'm just saying, if you want this, I'm not going anywhere whether you give us money or not. Whether you donate to our work or not, I'm still not going anywhere. I tell you, with my last dime, I will be out here sharing my love with you and helping you in every way I can. But if you want to give us a broader reach, if you want us to talk with more people, if you want to have us up our game and be at all the meetings and be able to travel and do the things we need to do, then don't be sitting on a pile of your money right now doing that. Don't buy the boat. Why don't you invest in me, right? And I'll be there for you in the future. Trust me. All right, great. Thanks so much for your time for this, and then we'll move on to this Sphere Authority training segment next, and take it from there. Thanks for your time. These are the things that we believe in. First, that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Second, that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Number three, that the laws and policies of civil government must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. And number four, that it is inappropriate to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. They came from you. They're your pillars. They're the things that you believe. Okay, I'm glad you're still with us, because after a segment like that, sometimes people get kind of overwhelmed. I am not here to release the spirit of fear. That is not my purpose at all. My purpose is to have you be able to get excited when you hear down the road, when you hear all of a sudden people talking about money printing. You're going to go, oh yeah, that's right. Doug told me something about that. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I got to pay attention to that. Or, hey, you know what? My bank is not being as cooperative as they used to be. I kind of understand what's going on. We're in a bit of a liquidity crisis right now. So I need you to please just pray covering. I'm going to be praying covering over you, but pray covering over yourself. Don't let the spirit of fear get a hold of yourself, man. We are definitely excited to be in the place we're at, in the time we're at, living in our nation. This is going to be an epic year, but we want to be prepared, eyes wide open throughout the entire year. That's why we're going to do this now. This is our Sphere Authority training template right here. And again, if you watch the January 2nd National Leadership Briefing, we talk about these training templates. We show you where to find them. You can download them from our website, nlbcanada.ca. We've got this, and this is intended for you to hear me do something. Like, I'm going to use this template, and then you're going to be able to either use a template you download from our site and kind of share the same message I share in your own words, in your own way, customize it, personalize it any way you like. But we want you to be able to articulate some of the concerns that we've got, or some of the things that we're excited about, or whatever. So that's why we do what we do here. Is I'm just going to model something very straightforward. It's going to be very short. It's a very short thing, because the Sphere Authority training video goes into this in very deep dive. It's a deep dive look at what you're looking at here. And I'm just going to show you an aspect of it from that point on. So moving forward. So let's take a look at it. Again, here we are. This is society, right? These are the jurisdictions of society. These are actually governments within our society here in Canada. And I say governments because you might be used to seeing civil government referred to as a government, but you know what? You yourself, you are self-government. You have the government of yourself, of your own life. And this circle here represents your sphere of influence, your area of responsibility as an individual within society. The black line on the outside is the jurisdictional limit of the authority that you possess to manage and to deal with and to address the responsibilities you have as an individual citizen, constituent, a person in society. That's self-government. But then there's also family government, because when two individual governments come together as individuals, a husband and a wife, and they form a new government, they form family government, which gives them a different and broadened jurisdictional limit of authority, which, by the way, includes the children. So there's mom and dad, the big circles, and then the children are the little circles. And that is one of the things we believe in here in the National Leadership Briefing, is that parents possess all the authority necessary to make all the decisions within their government sphere about what it is that goes on with their children. That's a fact. But we also have church government. Now, some people view that as just the church, like, the physical buildings and all that. We view this as ecclesia. We see this as a governing assembly of citizens with a governing role, and that is a government within our nation, a civil government, and they have a jurisdictional limit of their authority. Now, really quickly, I won't go into great detail, but you can actually the church government and family government can actually cross over into each other's sphere, but it's only by what we call with permissions. So in other words, a family that attends a local governing assembly of citizens, a church, they would submit themselves to the authority of the pastor and say, I give you permission, pastor, to speak into my life. So then that church government, that then would then cross over into the sphere of family with the permission of the family. And then obviously the individual would grant permissions to civil government or whatever. You can see how that works. A voluntary offering up of the right to speak into your life or to engage in my sphere and to have authority within my area of responsibility as an individual, family, or church. Now, the problem is, and this is one of the reasons why we show you these templates, is because we want you to be able to communicate the challenges that we have. The challenge is that civil government possesses special powers that each of the other governments do not possess. And those are the powers to legislate and to tax. And we grant them the right to do these things because the intention is that civil government will make decisions for all of society, all of us, for the betterment of society. However, there's one fatal flaw to civil government, and that it is made up of people. If it wasn't for the people, they say, government would be perfect. But you take a bunch of flawed, flesh-covered, prone to sin people, and you put them in charge of taxation and legislation, and they will become a corrupted horde. And that is unless you manage them and the authority that you give them as citizens. So this here is what I want to demonstrate here today is we're talking about the authority that is passed from the citizens to government, the government's likelihood that they're going to become bloated and corrupt and expand and act in tyrannical ways, which we see in Canada. And in fact, they're going to impose themselves. You see that dotted line there. They're going to bloat themselves naturally with the powers that we give them at election time, where they're going to bloat themselves to the point where they then impose themselves on the other jurisdictions of society. The church, the family, and the individual. So you see all of this stuff, you can see how you could draw this out on a napkin really easily, or you could use the template and you could show that as a challenge. So this is the solution to the problem that we have. The solution is that as the individuals come together at election time, and they gather together all these people groups here, and they elect a civil government by mandate. You see that arrow right there? That is the arrow that indicates that authority is being transitioned to civil government by the individuals, by people in society at election time. They're transitioning authority to civil government to act on their behalf with a very specific mandate, right? So this mandate is what they define at election time. Like the government will come out and they'll say, if you elect us, we'll do this, 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 and this, right? That's the mandate that we're giving them. We're saying, okay, we're going to lend you our authority as citizens for a specified period of time to execute a mandate that you have defined for us at election time. Right? That's the intention. But what we've been doing is we've been giving government our authority, and then we've been going back to our lane. And which again really bothers me when I hear, I don't mind if somebody stays in their lane and walks out God's call in their life. And if that lane doesn't include politics or government at all, that's totally fine. But you're a citizen of Canada. And if you think it's okay that you actually lend civil government your authority and then walk away, and knowing that they are a corruptible, a sin-filled, flesh-covered beast that just wants to consume everything else around them, then that's actually dereliction of duty as a citizen of Canada. God placed you in this nation to tend this garden. He placed you as a citizen of Canada. He didn't put you in Peru. He put you in Canada. So if you just don't pay any attention to what the Canadian government is doing, then you are not tending your garden that God has placed you in. That is a dereliction of your duty as a kingdom citizen, believe me. So what I'm saying is that be conscious and aware. Be conscious and aware, because if you don't manage and maintain a relationship, which is what we teach you, which is everything we do on the National Leadership Briefing that's got to do with government and politics, it's all about stewarding the beast that is and managing government. It's actually, as the citizens, we possess the authority to transition to them on a temporary basis to execute a mandate. But when they start hoarding power and then imposing itself in a tyrannical way on us, we've got to actually say, wait a second, enough, right? Enough, we're done. Now, you see that one arrow right there? This is the last thing I'm going to say about this template here, is that if we don't tend to the mandate we give them, outside forces will bear upon the individuals in civil government, and they'll usually take all these little minions here and they'll buy them off and maybe even turn a couple of those little minions into big, evil beasts like Carney. Like Prime Minister Carney, trust me, this arrow here represents the globalist horde that is coming over the hill in Canada at us. And they are in here to help the civil government consume everything with it. And I'm being generous with this little dotted line here. This dotted line with a globalist vision of Canada in a post-nation state world is the globalist idea is to consume everything within it. And the problem that we have with that here in Canada is that if you need to consume the church, how are you going to consume the church? If you're a globalist and you want to take over and control everything in society, the church is definitely going to stand in the way of that, because they won't bend a knee to an evil, demon spawn globalist. They believe in Jesus, and they will pray to God, the one true God, and they want to see they have their own vision, their kingdom worldview. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to do everything you can to make them bow. And imagine what those are. Well, you're going to crush them financially. First off, you're going to wipe out their bank accounts. You're going to make sure that you're going to question their charitable status. You're going to go after you're going to shut them up too. You don't want them talking. So you hate speech legislation and all those things. You see what I mean? Like they're using legislation in Canada. The globalists are influencing our politicians to use the very things that we empower them to use to help us. They're actually influencing them from the outside to take us over. Okay, I hope this is good. This is really good teaching. And again, I told you in the beginning, who else is telling you this? Who else is actually telling you this? Nobody is, because again, I love you. All right. So they're consuming, they're going to just consume everything. The individual rights of the citizens. Oh, wait a second. We definitely don't want individual citizens to have guns. We don't want that. That could get in the way of our plan. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all their guns. Families, well, wait a second. Kids are always looking to their mums and dads for help and advice and all that stuff. We want to be the experts. We want our plan implemented. So what we need to do is we need to deconstruct the family, redefine mothers and fathers, make sure that schools are indoctrinating children in a different way, making sure that we have mature minor legislation that's passed by the evil scumbags in government to make sure that we can take children away from mothers and fathers who dare to teach their children a Christian worldview. I'm just telling you here, if we don't steward our mandate here, they're going to for sure steward theirs. And their vision is all encompassing. All right. So that's enough of that. I just want you to know this is how we use the Sphere Authority training template. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing this message with somebody else that you know by writing this out yourself, I invite you, share this video. Hi, my name's Doug. Nice to meet you. I love your friend who shared this video with you. And the reason that they shared it with you is because they love you. And they don't want you to be completely, delusional in thinking that globalist civil government leaders like Mark Carney and even, hey, trust me, you don't have to look too far inside the Conservative Party of Canada to find the demon spawn there too, just so you know. So you actually can see here in our nation that as I look at this, that your friend is sharing this because he wants you or she wants you to know Doug Sharp, and that's his view. And that's something you can share with other people. All right? Okay, enough said about that. I hope that was helpful. Sphere Authority training template. Make sure you see the original video that I did that introduces this, and then build upon your understanding of this as a template and use it as an effective tool moving forward to gather people around you who share your views and values and want this to be avoided. All right, come back right in a minute here. We got one quick other thing we want to do, and then I want to talk about the convention. And thanks for your time so far.
The bear has been poked. It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada. So we stand united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.
Okay, you're still with me. This is fantastic. I'm excited about this because this is kind of one of these briefings where I'm thinking about, wow, if somebody is on the briefing right until the very end today, I'm thinking, man, it's almost like you're in, like you're actually in, because it doesn't get any rougher than this. I think this is one of the toughest sort of briefings that I've had to do because so much of what I'm sharing today, I have to be careful because we've got brand new people that are on the briefing, and I don't want to spook anybody. I don't want to scare anybody away. But at the same time, you need to know the truth. Like, you need to know the truth. And especially when Holy Spirit shares with me something and it is impressed upon me that I need to share it with you, then I cannot ignore that. So I'm being very obedient today in sharing what I'm sharing. So you're still here. Thank you. That's awesome. We've got a bright future, you and I, okay? All right, so this is, I told you we were going to talk about coalition building here, and so I put two of them together. We're going to talk about coalition building, but I'm also going to talk about this very, very important thing to understand the definition of, and that's peaceful non-compliance. You need to understand how to peacefully non-comply in the future, in our future on the road ahead. All right, so coalition building, first of all. Citizen action groups the infrastructure within churches that are built ahead of time. It's like the Noah's Ark within your church that you build before the rain comes. Because what happens is that pastors find and church leaders find something will happen in the political and governmental realm, and it will cause them all sorts of like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about that. I'm completely lost. I have no idea how to deal with it or what it is because I haven't built the ark. And the Citizen Action Group is the ark. It is the infrastructure within the church that is so easy to build. It's so safe to build. And it's designed to support your efforts as a church leader or pastor when you need information in the government and political realm. One second, I have a 14-year-old golden doodle that is driving me crazy over here. One sec, go ahead. All right. We're back. No, I'm not kidding. We have a 14-year-old golden doodle that's kind of going insane. So I kind of got this dog running around my feet all the time. So anyway, so citizen action groups, that is a coalition. That's when I say infrastructure within a church, it's people who you put the word out as the church leader. You say, hey, look, does anybody have it on their heart? Is God calling you to be involved or engaged in helping me to understand what's happening in the political and governmental realm? Well, there's an entire system that we have designed and built based on a citizen action group that is the most successful one in all of Canada, with no division in the church, causes no hassle in the church. There's no political spirit released. There's nobody arguing or fighting over which party is the best. None of that happens because we do it right. You can build that. That's a coalition of people coming together to help you, the church leader. We also have parents' advisory councils. What we're recognizing out there right now is that individual parents are being totally outgunned at their local schools with school board edicts and the curriculum, all that kind of stuff. If you're an individual parent and you aren't in relationship with other parents, and you're working the problem and working a plan together, then you are really getting creamed out there. So we're encouraging the coalition of parents to come together, and we can help to build that too. So that again, that's something that people think that, okay, Doug, you do the briefing once a month. Hey, that's an hour. What do you do with the rest of your time? This is what I do with the rest of my time. Is anybody who says, Doug, I really want to build a parent advisory council inside my church to help not only the parents in our church deal with what's happening in the education sphere and all that stuff, but I also want to be able to provide our pastor with information, things we're seeing in school, what's happening in culture. It's the eyes and ears of parents helping the pastor navigate. Parents Advisory Council, okay? So now we've got also what we call subject matter expert coalitions. So if you have, for example, a group of people who have specific skills or understanding in an area, such as somebody that has really researched the issue of abortion really, really well, totally loves the idea of protecting preborn children, has God's call on their life. They want to. Okay, so that would be somebody who could be considered a subject matter expert that can bring other subject matter experts or other people who have that on their heart together to then deal with and actually be effective in responding to this culture of death that has just rolled over our nation in the area of abortion. And I'm just thinking abortion for one, but there are subject matter experts, like whether it's kingdom worldview. Maybe you need a whole bunch of people to get together and build a curriculum, a kingdom worldview curriculum, or vet curriculums that are out there and things that we can help so we can raise up people within the church to be more kingdom literate in our church. So these are coalitions. And what I'm saying to you here, and the reason why I'm bringing them to you is because the lone wolf out there in the year ahead, again, looking ahead, that's not where you want to be. You do not want to be alone. You want to be in a group of people working collaboratively on the challenges that we're facing, because the challenges are bigger than one. They are definitely bigger than one out there, and finding people with like mind, like challenges, like heart is a real big part. So keep your eyes open, keep your hearts open to receive. But if you need any help in building any of these, we've got systems already. We're actually building them already. So we know what we're doing and we can help. So get in touch with us at president@familyaction.ca. President@familyaction.ca. All right. That's coalitions. That's all I want to say about that. Now I'm going to talk about peaceful non-compliance by using what I call this is the political landscape of Canada. This is the political calculus that people need to understand if they're ever dealing with politicians from political parties. You need to understand the way they see the world and what they're thinking of when they're looking at you as the Christian. So I'm going to help you. Okay, in our parliament, there are 343 total seats, right? So this is a scale from 0 seats to 343 seats. Think of this as a scale. It gets greater as it moves down here, right? Okay, every parliament, every member of parliament, every leader, Pierre Poilievre, Mark Carney, Jagmeet Singh, or whoever else the crazed individual is who's going to replace that person. Okay, this here, this grid here, they're all would love to get to here, but especially like to get to here, majority. And what that just simply means is that they have earned a minimum of 50% of the seats. They've won 50% of the elected seats in the House of Commons. So they have what's called a majority government, right? So again, crazy golden doodle, one sec. Come on in. Come on in. All right. So they want to get to this majority here. And so what they have to do is they in their minds they're thinking I've got to go appeal to the broadest number of Canadians that I can across the country so I can get this 170 some odd seats to get to the majority level, so that way I can have a mandate to govern for 4 years and I can just do whatever I want for 4 years. Right now that's what they sometimes think. But so they're trying to get to there. Now, what they're asking us to do, like let's say that they go, well, wait, if I want to get to here, to this point here, I may have to deal with getting support from bloodthirsty, people who just can't have enough abortions. They just want more abortions. They want more abortions. So I might have to do a deal with some people who really love abortion to get to the 50% point. So what they do is they go to the people that they already have secured the help from all the way along, and they say, hey, look, we just need you to not be so vocal about abortion because defending children in the womb and all that inconvenient stuff about like protecting children before they're born. We need you to be quiet about that for a while because we're over here trying to secure the votes of people who love to actually terminate pregnancies. So because we got to get to this mark. We got to get to there. And so you hear this a lot. They go, take a little water with your wine. Take a little water with your wine. We're just trying to build a coalition government. We got to bring people together. One big tent idea, right? So they say, okay, just like okay. So there we got abortion. We got that. Fine. Now you're not talking so much about abortion, or then they'll go to euthanasia and say, look, you know what? There's a lot of people out there that really don't want elderly people to live that long. It's a burden on society. They say the last 6 months of your life is like the most expensive, and they don't see any value in having like elderly people around. They're just costly, right? So, but we got to get their votes because we got to get to this majority level here so that we can become the government. So we just need you to like be quiet about euthanasia. So I know you don't want to euthanize grandma, and I know you think it's just like life is value of life is innate, and value of life, it comes from God, and all those inconvenient things that we think about, right? So we just need you to compromise on euthanasia. And by the way, LGBTQ, that's getting to be, that's a big section here. Like we really got to charge this line here to try and get that. So everything you believe about God creating men and women, like two sexes, two biological sexes, just need you to compromise on that. Oh, and you know what? You got to give up some of your parental authority because we're going to do things to your kids in school, and we don't want you raising a stink about it because it's really inconvenient because we're trying to get the teachers lobby, the teachers union. If we could just get them, we can get over this line. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some compromises with your kids. Let your kids be indoctrinated a little bit at school. Oh, as a matter of fact, we're just going to take your kids, okay? Because we're going to propose legislation where if you don't actually like agree with what we teach your kids at school, then we're going to actually fine you $20,000 and throw you in jail for 5 years. And your pastor, we're going to do that too. But don't put up a stink, because we're trying to get government here. And when we have government, everything will be fine. And by the way, you're going to have to sacrifice some of your free speech rights, and we're going to bulldoze you at convention. When you decide to come to a political party convention for our party, we're actually going to throw roadblocks up in front of you so you can't speak and you can't be heard, and we're going to tip the scale on you, and we're going to try. So okay, now am I making my point? Am I making my point here? This is the way the politicians are thinking now, especially on the right side of the political spectrum. So when I talk about peaceful non-compliance, it's really simple. You don't have to get mad at anybody. You just got to look your conservative member of parliament in the face and go, no, no, I'm not coming along. So as you charge that center line and try and get the support of all these people in the middle who, quite frankly, I think are demon possessed, probably a lot of them, and they need Christ. They don't need to vote for you. They need to come to a knowledge of God inside of them that will heal them and bring them to a place of understanding of who they are in Christ. This is what we think is necessary. But the truth is they want us to do all this so they can get a majority government. That's where we're at. So I'm saying to you that when I talk about you telling your conservative candidates and your conservative members of parliament and your conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, when I'm telling you that the only answer right now is to say, no, I'm not coming along. I'm not going to support you unless I see some meaningful legislative proposals on abortion and euthanasia. I do not want to be forced to give up my parental authority to accommodate the LGBTQ lobby. By the way, I don't use LGBTQ community because I have lots of friends that are LGBTQ community members, and they're aghast at what the lobby is doing and what the political class is doing to them, using them as a divisive wedge to actually earn support for issues like that. Like they're done with it too. So we don't want to do that. You're not going to take our kids. We're going to keep speaking up. You're not going to criminalize the Bible. And even if you do criminalize the Bible, we're still going to preach out of it. Throw me in prison. I'm not coming along. I'm not going to take guns out in the street. I'm not going to grab a pitchfork and a rake. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say no. I'm not coming along. So if you want my support at the next election, if you want me to vote for you at the next election, give me a reason to. Tell me you're going to do something about abortion. Tell me you're going to do something meaningful with euthanasia. Tell me you're going to do something to protect my parental authority. Don't make me take anything. Don't lock me down. Don't treat me like some underclass citizen. I'm not coming along. So that's peaceful noncompliance, and that's the solution to the political class problem we have right now on the political spectrum. Again, anybody else talking like that right now out there? Is anybody else saying no? Nobody. Everybody else is saying we gotta get in there and like massage the situation on. No. We're gone. We're way past that. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never seen a solution more perfect to a problem than the solution of peaceful noncompliance and the response being no. I'm not coming along. Okay. All right. So that's where we're at right now. I wanted to update you on that. And then we'll come back in 2 seconds here. If I got time to cover convention, I'll check the time. But we're going to maybe spend a minute or two on convention. But we are out of time today. Let's see what we got left when I come back. Bye for now. Okay, I checked the time. We got 2 minutes left, so I'm going to respectfully ask for 2 extra minutes here today. So give me 2 extra minutes of your time, and I think I can land this plane. And I got a little bonus for you at the end too. So anyway, thank you so much for today, for being here. It's super important to me that when we go over the tough stuff and we talk about the challenging things, that you know that I speak through a heart of love for you, and that is really what I want to impress upon you, is that it is going to be bumpy on the road ahead. There's going to be lots of challenges. This is going to be a turbulent year. And I can see it coming. I can actually see it coming. And I will be there every step of the way with you. We're going to dedicate much of our briefings over 2026 to helping you prepare to be ready for some of these bumpy parts of the road. So stick with me, man. I'm on your side. I'm right there with you, on your six, on your side, wherever you need me to be. I want to be there for you. We offer a lot of things on the National Leadership Briefing and Canada Family Action that can help churches. If I'm not in relationship with your pastors, or if I'm not in relationship with your church, if you don't know how to get in touch with me, president@familyaction.ca, then you need to just write that number down, president@familyaction.ca. Please make sure you know that we're going to do no harm. As a matter of fact, I've got a reputation as being the happy warrior. I've got a reputation as somebody that does no harm. I do not go in and blow up churches. That's not what I do. I serve the church. I do not hang out with politicians. I don't even like politicians, most of the time. I don't know. I don't socialize with them. I serve the church. That's what I'm here to do. So I don't have any split allegiances, right? Like, I'm just here to help. That's our goal. So know that moving forward. Also, when I said I was going to talk about convention, just want to make sure that you know something about me and convention is that nobody does it better. Nobody understands convention better and what it's all about than me. As a matter of fact, it shocked me at the last the convention that we just came out of, the Conservative Party of Canada convention, the level of ignorance of what exactly is convention. I mean, it really was shocking to me that even members of Parliament with the Conservative Party of Canada didn't even really understand the process of how people arrived at convention and how we all ended up in that room and what it was all about and the reason why. It also surprised me that there really was. It's almost like the policy development and the rule book submission changes, the things you vote on, that is of the primary importance to me. But it almost seemed like it had kind of a pep rally feel to me this time around, and so that's good for us. That's good for us because while they're focusing on the fooling around and shenanigans stuff, if you and I actually commit ourselves to even like a modest level of excellence, we will far exceed and pull ahead of the mediocrity I saw. Like, I mean, and again, I love the people in the room. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about there was a lot of people there that weren't discipled. They weren't trained. They weren't brought up. They weren't educated. They weren't informed. They were kind of wandering around what was going on. They didn't really understand what was going on. So if we made a commitment to actually do that, to actually go to next convention in 2 years, prepared and ready. Hey, come on, Bridget. Sorry, Bridget, my dog. Come on, Golden Doodle. Come on, you relax. If we just said, look, we just want to be excellent in any way we can, then any challenges that we had at the last convention, we're not going to have again. We're just not going to have again. Because if this is the direction political party conventions are going, I say fantastic, because we're pros. We're the pros. We know what we're doing. It's going to be really, really effective. We're going to do a great job together, working together. So anyway, I say all of that is that our best days are ahead of us in that environment, the environment I saw. And so really, when we talk about peaceful non-compliance, all that kind of stuff, it all comes in together with our strategy. So as we deploy into conventions, remember, we're taking Christ in us into conventions. We're not going in there to be political, wave the flags and, sure, we can be fun too. We're happy warriors, but we're not there to like sell out or become co-opted by a brand or a political flag. What we're in there doing is we're advancing the cause of Christ. We're talking about Christian principles, and we want to sow them into the conversations that take place at places like convention, and we want to have influence. That's what we want. We want salt. We are the salt. We want to make contact with the world. And at convention, that's a good place to do it. So anyway, that's all. I'm going to have to leave it there because I've already taken up probably an extra minute than I asked for. So anyway, thank you for joining me on the briefing today. Share this with your friends. Let them know that, look, it's not a great ask. 1 hour once a month for the next 12 months. Let's do it. And if you need any help, you can call me or you can email me, right? All right, leave it there, but for now, I'm going to leave a little bonus video here at the end. I'm going to show you the video again of a pastor who started a citizen action group ministry in their church. If you want one in your church, you're going to need one in your church. Maybe you don't know you're going to need it yet, but when the flood comes, if you don't have that ark built, I'm just saying, it's harder to help you if you aren't already in motion. So I want to help, but watch this video at the end, share it with your pastor if your pastor hasn't seen this already, or your church leader, and then give them my email address, president@familyaction.ca. Anyway, enjoy this last video. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next month. In the meantime, please know that I'm going to be praying for you. I'm going to be praying for the prosperity and the well-being of your family. And I'm going to continue to pray for this great nation, although albeit troubled, this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.
I became aware, just in my prayer time, these things started to come up about what was happening in the nation, primarily what I'd been reading about what was happening in the education system, the curriculum that was being introduced to grade school children and even preschool children, things that little children shouldn't even have to deal with until they're coming into their teen years. And it suddenly struck me that they're after the children. And by that, I mean those whose agenda is to teach a sexuality that is very contrary to what we have as a biblical or a moral worldview. And when it struck me that they were after the children, and I thought, I have to do something, but I'm a pastor. I'm not a politician. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an educator. And I thought, well, what can I do? I can let our people know about this. And so I started to try and do a little bit more research, and I would check online for, this organization, Canada Family Action was one that I'd find out, okay, this is happening. ARPA was another one, Parents for Choice in Education here in Alberta. And what actually happened was I was starting to sort of get overwhelmed with all this information because I'm a pastor. I've already got all the stuff that I have to do. And I was sitting there one morning and I said, God, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know how to do all this. I can't keep up with this. And I felt like the impression that came to me was, there's a remnant of people in your church who have a heart to do this kind of thing. You need to find them. And, we pastored for over 30 years. And so I knew that for anything that was on God's heart, there's a group of people in each local church. I learned that many years ago, that God will speak to their heart about it, whether it's home missions or missions away or a building project or working with orphans, whatever. And so I just said, okay, I trust that there's people here that will have this on their heart. Because I was, I just had too much to do. I couldn't keep up, as I said. So I got up that Sunday morning, just a few days later, and I said, we're going to have a meeting next Sunday night for those of you who have an interest or a heart for social justice issues, for what's happening in the nation. And I mentioned some of what was happening in the schools, and people kind of knew that because I've been sharing a little bit of that on and off over the prior weeks. And so then I got up again the next Sunday and said, tonight we're having a meeting. And it was totally, I had no idea how many people were going to show up. So we met in a small sanctuary that night, and I just had, 20 or 30 chairs set up, and 20 people came. I didn't have a plan, and really what I was doing was reaching out, trusting that God was leading me. And I said to the people that night, which really, as a public speaker, I felt kind of foolish. I said, you guys, I don't have an agenda. I realize that I need three things. If I'm going to get up on a Sunday morning and share for 2 or 3 minutes on here's what's happening and here's how we respond, I need people who can find information for me that's pertinent to us right now. My experience has been, and myself included, that Christians are largely uninformed on the issues. We're getting better, but we're largely uninformed. So I said, I need people who can find information that's pertinent to what's happening. I said, I need people who can vet that information and determine, okay, is this hearsay or is this something that's actually happening? And here's the research, here's the data. And then I said, I need somebody who can create an action plan or a response so that when I get up on Sunday, I can go, here's the information, here's where we found out, and here's what needs to happen, and you guys, here's how we need to respond. And so the people sort of said, okay, and I said, I don't know what to call this, a political group, a political action group. I said, but let's sit down and talk about it. 2 or 3 people from that group sort of came and said, I would be more interested. I will help you find the information. Eventually, after I think about within the next month, we had about 5 people that came, and we sat down as a group, and I said, well, you guys know the need here. I said, as a pastor, I just need somebody to help me with this information. So we're beginning to see this vision that God had about, that he gave to my heart, was how Christians engage and how Christians can be a voice and see something change in your city, in your province, in your nation. And the nice thing about it is, I'm not running this. I'm not making it happen. I'm not having to do all the work. They give me what I need, I inform the church, and then they take care of the rest. So I really want to emphasize that for pastors who are like, gosh, I'm not a politician, I'm a pastor, I'm here to help people's marriages and help them, that they don't have to do all the work. But I will say this, as pastors, we have the responsibility to help our people be salt. And somebody said to me, well, how, we shouldn't get involved in politics. Politics is a dirty thing, we should just pray. And I remember thinking this, Jesus said we're salt. Salt doesn't have an impact until it makes contact. And as Christians, we have to start making contact with our world, with our constituencies, with the nation. And I'm not a politician. I'm a pastor, so I don't try and be a politician because it's not my lane. But there are people in my church who have a real heart for that, and they have a heart for social justice and for one of the things that you've mentioned. And so they're training themselves and becoming, I don't know if you'd call us experts, but at least we're informed and engaged. So it's definitely easier for me because I'm not trying to change who I am. What God was able to do was to create something that empowered our people without me having to change and become something else.